black magic from my mama. Be innovative, yeah, that's what she taught me. Create the colors, make a masterpiece. And don't you worry what them haters think. Just take your time with it. You a boss, you a queen, you a diamond. Don't you be afraid of your ego. Wear it like a promise, this is your show. This is a black girl nation, a black girl creation, a black girl song for a black girl generation. Standing in the gold of our ancestors, claim it. Got the magic flowing through our veins, you can shame it. Name a better species in the game, you can name it. Black girl nation. Our backs to the story of history on the spines. We make up the cosmos, we make us up in kind. Don't know who you mess with, you better step aside. These black girl aesthetics is spin to blow your mind. We're so divine with it. Change the game, switch up the roles, put the shine in it. And don't you be afraid of our ego. Welcome to the planet, this is our show. This is a black girl nation, a black girl creation, a black girl song for a black girl generation. Spinning in the gold of our ancestors, claim it. Got the magic flowing through our veins, you can shame it. Name a better species in the game, you can name it. Black girl nation. We live in a world where they don't want us to be alive. Sometimes it gets hard to be yourself, let alone to thrive. But this is a message to remind you who you truly are. Just sending up the sun, the lightning in the stars. This is a black girl nation, black girl creation. We're lighting in the stars. Remember who you are. This is a black girl nation, black girl creation. We're spinning in the gold. This black girl magic flow. This is a black girl nation, black girl creation. We're lighting in the stars. Remember who you are. This is a black girl nation, black girl creation. We're spinning in the gold. This black girl magic flow.
From a different continent, I packed a bag in confidence. I didn't come for compliments, oh no. A couple decades working late, 100 no's, 100 fails. That's what it takes to elevate someone. And now I use the high IQ to get the check. Don't spend it on some stupid kitty flex. I prove nothing to no one but myself. Nah, I'm looking inside me and I love what I see. I'm a grown fucking woman and I don't give a shit what you think about me. I'ma keep it moving and I don't give a shit what you think about me. I'm a grown fucking woman. I'm a grown fucking woman. Honey, honey, I'm a grown fucking woman. Don't talk while I'm trying to talk. Still the time to get it right, to plant the seeds and get them right. But finally I'm growing on my growing thing. Every insecurity is fading out, cause I see the full me, and she was worth the wait. Now I use that high IQ to get the check. Don't spend it on some stupid kitty flex. I prove nothing to no one but myself. Now I'm looking inside me and I love what I see. I'm a grown fucking woman and I don't give a shit what you think about me. I'ma keep it moving and I don't give a shit what you think about me. I'm a grown fucking woman. I'm a grown fucking woman. Honey, honey, I'm a grown fucking woman. Don't talk while I'm trying to talk. I don't bother bully, need my head 100. Got a bit of fun and hits a cutter on my own republic. I can't be like Plato, my philosophy precludes me from being a fake. Call me Draco and I slither in a McDo. Scars gouged by the double-headed eagle. I'm bound when the rednecks kill my ego. Vision, I got vision, they don't see the shit I'm seeing. But in the end, that's what separates the girls from the women. I'm a grown fucking woman and I don't give a shit what you think about me. fucking woman. Don't talk while I'm trying to talk. Don't talk while I'm trying to talk. Talk while I'm trying to talk. Don't talk while I'm trying to talk.
Welcome back to this channel, everyone. It's your resident internet psychic medium and spiritual advisor, Mr. Crane. And thank you for being with me tonight. How exciting, how exciting. Can you guys hear okay? Can you see okay? Last week, the stream was really spotty. And I would like to say that I do have a bone to pick because nobody told me. Why didn't anyone tell me this? Why didn't anyone tell me mid-stream that the stream was spotty? I had to go back, rewatch, see it was spotty, and then figure out what to do about that. So I've changed some things. And hopefully it is a little bit better, but we'll see. We won't know, I guess, until we finish, but that's cool. We're gonna rock it out. And we'll fix whatever needs to be fixed if it needs to get fixed. Hello. Hi, Wendy, Carlisha, Linda, Sharonda. How you guys doing? Did you guys have a good weekend? I had a good weekend. I I mean, honestly, it's like the same update every weekend. I may or may not have ended up accidentally shopping, and may or may not have ended up at a Bath and Body Works during their 75% off sale, and may or may not have blacked out. And then came to with a bag of goodies. So it's a little bit blurry. Okay. Well, we're gonna hang in it because sometimes the streams in the beginning are a little bit blurry. I will say we're not streaming in 1080. Sometimes I recommend trying not to do the 1080p unless you have like a sort of wired connection. Because if it's not wired, then it gets spotty. You have a better chance of streaming and then like going consistently if you're like at 720, which is so annoying. So hopefully it gets better. Hopefully it's like palatable and that you can stand it for for like the next hour or so. So right, isn't Bath and Body Works? I was in there like minding my business, perusing, and I swear to you, I had my back turned. Somebody comes into the store, and this is literally what she said. She went, "Woo!" into the front door. I mean, I had never seen someone be so loud, but then so enthusiastic and excited about walking into a Bath and Body Works. And then she made an announcement and was like, this is my favorite store ever. I'm just like, I can't, whenever I come in, I can't help it. And then every time she would sniff something and she liked it, she let the whole store know she liked it. Like it was like an announcement of like how good it was. And I was like, I appreciate your joy. It was a little obnoxious because I was trying to shop in peace. But I appreciate the joy nonetheless. And then outside of that, I went to one of my favorite bakeries. I don't know if it's like a millennial thing now, but like on Saturdays, I like wake up and go to a bakery. And like I have this thing where I don't want to go too late because if I go too late, then the good pastries and like the good breads and stuff are already like sold for the day. And so you're just kind of like left with whatever people were picking over. And so like on the weekends, I got to get up and I have to go get my coffee that cost way too much money for how much it tastes. I mean, it's a good coffee, but like, I don't think I would go so far of calling it like artisanal. You know what I mean? But I do it anyway because it's like my joy. And then I like peruse the shelves and I look for fresh baked items and I collect. And then it was after that I ended up at a Bath and Body Works. But here we are. The funnest thing though about Bath and Body Works, I don't have it with me, but just in case you guys don't do this, which I don't know what you're waiting for, I do this thing where I make new smells. And so I wouldn't use this one because this is like a fall smell. It's just sitting over here. And so it's like a demonstration product now. But I do this thing where like I'll go to Bath and Body Works and then like buy like a cheap scent and then go, well, what can I mix it with? And then I'll come home and then I'll look at like my body butters and my lotions and then I'll spritz into the inside. And then I like create this new smell, You can also, by the way, do that if you want to do like magical tools or make magical items. Like, let's say you want to do like, you want to make an oil yourself, like a love oil or something like that. And then because rose is expensive and like rose essential oil is expensive, but rose is not expensive at the moment at Bath and Body Works due to its 75% off sale. So you get yourself a little bottle of rose from Bath and Body Works, and then you just kind of spritz it into your love oil or potion or whatever you got cooking, You can do that with literally anything and mix all the smells together. Because I don't like to smell like everybody else. And I mix all of my scents and perfumes and oils together. I layer it all the time. Because if someone says, "Oh, like that smells good. What are you wearing?" I don't want to be able to say I'm wearing something that you can then go to the store and go get. So yeah, but I'll never forget someone was like, "What? Dude, that smells good. What are you wearing?" And I was like, "Chloe and Ariana Grande." Yes, one of my favorite pastimes. So listen, what do I got for you today? It was really interesting peeping in to the collective because it is it's interesting because it feels like everyone is battling with a different kind of insecurity, but that the battling of said insecurity is still taking everyone to the same place. And so I feel like I would like to unravel that. I'm starting to notice that like doing these like early week streams, like Monday, or if I like skip the Monday on a Tuesday, I've noticed that I energetically, it feels like I am unraveling everything that's sort of like raveled up throughout the past week. And then it's like, okay, well, let's undo that thing so you guys can continue going on like with your life and like evolving, right? And so I, prior to getting, how do I want to do this? What order do I want? Okay, let's start with an exercise because I definitely like I have a point, but I feel like I want to like really kind of hammer that point in. So let's start with an exercise. Okay, let's start with the group exercise. It's not really like a meditation. It's more of a visualization. But if you want to meditate, that's fine. I'm not going to stop you. And I'm going to give you guys a second to like settle, right? Settle, go sit down if you were doing something. And even if you're like in the kitchen cooking dinner or something like that, like settle your mind for a minute. And I just need you to walk with me on this journey that I'm about to take you on. And I'll wrap it up. I promise. Can't promise how long it's going to take me to get there, but we're going to get there. Okay. And take a couple deep breaths. And, allow your mind to feel fluid like an ocean. Allow it to stretch and bend a little bit. Anything that you've been holding on from the day, allow yourself to put it down right now. All right. And just take a deep breath. I'm going to walk you through this exercise that I somewhat wrote down, but will fill in the blanks now because I didn't write it all down. Okay. So I want you, and I want to make sure you can hear me. Let's move this. I want you to imagine yourself standing on a platform, right, at a train station. And it's a beautiful platform, well embellished, it's clean. You're outside, the platform is outside, and there is like fresh air. You can feel the warmth of the breeze, and the warmth of the sun, right? So you're outside. It's a pleasant moment that you're having. You're standing on this platform. And I want you to notice the ground beneath your feet, right? Like this is a grounded experience. You're safe. You're firmly planted, right? Now, suddenly, you start to feel some shaking, some movement beneath your feet. And you think, that's odd. That's really weird. What's that about? You look up, and then off in the distance, you see this train. It's a powerful train, but it's hurtling down the track at like this like breakneck speed, right? It's fast. It looks heavy, and it is this force to be reckoned with. It looks like it's unstoppable, right? Like it's a runaway train. And you're looking at this train and you're going, okay, any day now would be great. Why is no one stopping this train, right? Why is it coming so fast? And why is it coming so fast towards me? I'm the one that's standing on this platform. Is anyone going to stop this thing, right? And so what you're looking at is like this train that is moving with this level of momentum that is almost like it's being controlled by some kind of unseen force. Some kind of divine force is controlling this thing. And you're like, I don't even know, like, is anyone on that train? Is everyone okay? Is everyone going to be okay? What's going to happen? When is this thing going to stop, right? Suddenly, you blink and you realize you are now a conductor on this runaway train. You are now on the train. You're standing in the front. You're like, holy crap, what am I going to do? How am I going to stop this thing? Right? And you look down and you see a lever. It's an emergency brake. And so you're like, I don't know how to drive trains. No one is in this booth with me, right? Like no one is in this train car with me. I'm sitting here by myself. I'm now on this train. I feel like this thing can derail at any moment and no one's here to stop me. I don't even know what I'm doing. I don't know how to work this thing, right? But all you see in front of you is a lever and it says emergency brake. So you pull it. You pull it with everything you got and you realize that there's so much resistance that it's almost like nothing is changed. Nothing is stopping this moving train. Nothing is stopping this runaway train. It's almost like you're pulling this lever in vain, like it's not working. And then so you have this moment where you want to give up, but then you realize that you are the conductor. You're the only one that's next to a lever. And if you don't stop this train while being on it, then who's going to do that? That you don't really have a whole lot of options because either you can be with this runaway train that can derail at any moment, that can crash at any moment, or you can try again, right? You can try again to stop this train. So you pull it again. You pull the lever again. And this time you notice the train starts to screech a little bit. Sparks are flying and it starts shaking and it's not slowing down. It's not stopping, but there was a reaction to what it was that you did. And in that moment, you realize that trying to bring the force of the train under control is not going to be an instant process. You realize in that moment that what you are in the process of working on is stopping this runaway train. So you muster up some courage and you decide to pull it again. You said third time's a charm, right? But this time you're pulling it and you're doing it with a level of determination that you didn't do it with before. And because of that, gradually, you'll notice that the train's speed begins to slow down. It's still moving really, really fast, but there's like these slight decreases that are happening. The pace is starting to slow down. And with this action and with the slowing down, you're starting to be able to feel the momentum. You're starting to feel like, okay, maybe I can sort of control it a little bit, right? Whereas before, it may have been more of an intimidating, scary force because it felt like it was a momentum that was coming at you. Now it feels like you have found the reins of it. Now you're still not in control of all of this momentum, but you're realizing that it's a possibility for you to get final control over it. And what you start to understand at that moment is that it's a process. And the process is requiring you to be persistent and determined. It's requiring that you do not give up. And it is also requiring a level of patience, not patience with the process of trying to stop the train, but more so patience with yourself. It's requiring that every time you make an attempt that you don't find a reason to be frustrated with yourself in the process, because being frustrated with yourself in the process could lead to a casualty. As the train starts to slow down, you think, okay, all right, I feel like I'm getting the hang of it. You have a moment to take a breath. So you stand up, you look, you turn around, and there's a window in the train car that you're in. And when you look through that window, you start to see that there are actually passengers on board this train. These passengers represent different aspects of your life. They are different thoughts. They are different emotions. They are different habits, patterns of behavior. Some of the people that you're looking at, they look tired. They look worn down, sort of like life came and life hit them, right? There are other people who are on the train who don't look like that, though. They have been on this train for quite some time. It's been going really fast for quite some time. So they have acclimated to the speed, but they're noticing that now someone's in control of this train. and that someone is actively working to slow it down. And this has piqued their interest. They are a little bit curious about what's happening, and they're a little bit curious about what inspired this change. What I would like for you to do is recognize that all of these people that you are seeing, all of these passengers that are on board, that they are all aspects that have been with you for a really long time, but it's now time for them to disembark. Up ahead, you see a brand new station. It's vibrant. It's filled with light and energy. It's colorful. And this station represents a new beginning, a place where new empowering experiences are supposed to be had. And as you are wrestling with that emergency brake, as you are pulling on that lever, you start to realize that as this train is approaching the new station, that it is now cooperating with you and it is actually slowing down. And soon it pulls into the station and it comes to a complete halt. And not only did the train stop, it did so in a way that was much more gentle than what you initially thought it would actually do. At the station, many of the passengers that were on the train, the passengers that are representing your outdated patterns, begin to get off. They all start getting off your train. And the train, car by car, starts emptying itself out. And as they empty out, the passengers are carrying with them old stories that no longer serve you. They are taking it with them too. And as they leave, you recognize this and you thank them for their journey. You thank them for the journey that they had with you. And as they disembark, you release them with gratitude. Now that your train is empty, there are new passengers that are now boarding the train. And these new passengers are representing new empowering experiences that you're soon to have. They are representing fresh perspectives. They're representing positivity. They're representing strength that you haven't found within yourself yet. Welcome these passengers onto the train and welcome them warmly. And notice that the train is feeling lighter and more balanced with each new passengers. Understand that you don't know them yet. They don't know you yet. Understand that there isn't yet an interaction that was had. So all of these new things will have to be learned and experienced. Understand that for some of you, because these are new faces, you may not know whether or not you're supposed to trust them just yet. You may feel a little bit wary at the moment about whatever kind of relationship may come out of that. You may be thinking about past experiences that you've had and how it's impacted your life. And so for some of you, you may look at these new passengers with a side eye. But regardless of how you feel about them, welcome them in with warmth and open arms. Now, that train, that runaway train, is your belief system. That runaway train is the belief system that you are in the process of outgrowing. That runaway train is the belief system that you're currently working to replace. A lot of you are in this sort of gray area, gray space. That happens when you make the choice to change the belief systems that you are operating from. The gray space is the part that happens between your lived experience and your old belief system and your soon to be lived experience and your new belief system. It's the area in between. It's the runaway train. It's because that train has been going for so long For so many years, you have been operating off of the belief system that the train has gotten out of control and it has run away from you. That's why it's so easy to have moments where you think to yourself, why do I keep thinking that thing? I don't feel good when I think that thing. It makes me feel like crap. I can't help it. I can't actually stop myself. I'm trying not to think about that thing all the time, but alas, here we are, right? It's because it's on the runaway train. It's gotten away from you. It's part of the belief system. What is the difference between a thought and a belief? A belief is a practiced thought. So you can think something one or two times, even if it's really negative, it doesn't make it a belief, right? But if you are thinking something over and over and over again that it has become habit, even when it's an unpleasant thought for you, even when you know it's disempowering, but you can't stop thinking about it, right? You're like, why do I keep thinking about this thing? It's turned into a belief. It's a practiced thought. You have practiced thinking this thing for a significant period of time that it has turned into your belief system. And your belief system has gotten to the point where it is now out of your control and it has run away from you. And on the spiritual journey, what ends up happening at some point in time is that people go, oh yeah, actually, I don't want to live by those rules. I want to recreate a new set of circumstances for myself. And then when they do that, they now start choosing new thought patterns. They choose these thought patterns often enough, and then those thought patterns then become a new belief system. What's happening is that new belief system hasn't been on the track long enough to gather speed or momentum yet. You're still trying to stop the old train in order to reverse it. And so in life, the way this plays out is that you'll feel like, okay, I've changed my thought process. I feel like I no longer believe these things, or I no longer want to live by these set of rules. And then you will come across a situation that is challenging these new sets of beliefs, right? Or you'll come across people that are now challenging the new you that you're in the process of creating, the new you that you want to exist, the new you that you're trying to evolve into. You're now attracting these people who are directly challenging these sort of new ideas that you're creating, these new thought processes that you're creating. They are challenging new habits that you're trying to form. It's like this window in between where your reality is not really matching your new thought process. It's not really matching the new beliefs. And this is a really sort of interesting window because people will do one of two things. People will continue to act with determination and persistence when it comes to pulling that emergency brake, pulling on the lever to stop the train, or people interpret that experience as being a sign that they have failed somewhere, as being a sign that, okay, well, I tried to change my patterns and my thought processes, my belief system, but life is still doing the same thing it did before. So obviously it's not really working for me. And so then they'll go into that space and then they will go back to how they originally were behaving, or the behavioral patterns that they were originally doing, or the using the old habits, right? Relying on the old thought process, because they think that the new one isn't working, because they are in the process, the runaway train process, not realizing that they are actively pulling on the emergency brake, and the emergency brake it'll stop the train, but that because the train has years worth of momentum, and for most people, it's a lifetime of momentum, that it's just going to take a minute to stop. And that is the gray space on the in-between. So if you're like, well, how long does this gray space last? Like, how long am I supposed to be here? Well, it depends on where you're at in your spiritual journey. I would say if you are someone who you feel like you have been on your journey for a while, you've been hanging out with me for a while, right? You have been on your journey and path of exploration for a few years. For you, I honestly think it'll only take you about 3 to 6 months. If you are someone who is brand new to this, you're like in your awakening phase, you have no idea who Mystic Rain is, this is the first time you've ever seen me on the internet, and you're just stumbling on a video, right? You just clicked it, it sang to you, and now here you are. You may be in a 6 to 12 month space, right? So it'll take you 6 to 12 months from the moment that you decided to change your belief system to the moment you then start to see the physical manifestations of that belief system change. But regardless of what like pocket you're in, this time next year, your life will look different. This time next year, how you are in your internal state will be different, and what you see reflected back to you physically will also be different. You are just in that gray space when you're in the process of stopping the runaway train. Another way that you can look at this is the reverb. Are they calling it like the reverb? When things are bouncing back to you. So it's gathered all this energy, it's gathered all of this momentum, all of this speed, all of this force, all of this power, because it's something that you have been using for a literal lifetime. And then you went, I'm done, right? You give it a hard stop. Energy doesn't stop. It's always in motion. So what you're going to witness in that gray space, the in-between, is the reverb, where it's bouncing backwards. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's happening. It's the energy bouncing backwards. And you just have to allow yourself to get through the reverb in order to get to the side where you don't even notice it anymore. And instead of being frustrated in the reverb process, find some humor in it. Every time something bounces back to you, be like, oh crap, this was actually the paradigm that I was actually living with before. Like, holy crap, that's funny, right? Because that's what's happening. And this will happen every single time you change a belief system. There will always be a gray space in between, a period of time where you have to allow yourself the grace to stop that runaway train, that period of time in the middle where you're going to be witnessing the reverb, when you're going to be witnessing physical manifestations of things that no longer resonate with your new belief system. The old belief system that supported the previous physical manifestations won't be there anymore. And so for a lot of the experiences, it's going to feel very like, whoa, like out there. Like, why is this still happening? I thought I cleaned this up already. I don't understand why this is still occurring. It's because you're in that really beautiful gray space. Okay? Now, do we have any questions about that before I continue? Huh, class? Huh? Does it make sense? I try to be, Wendy. I try to be. The thing that I thought was really interesting was when I pulled the cards prior to doing this live. I do like to like pull the cards occasionally prior to doing the live because I just like to see what's in the energy. Sometimes I use the card, sometimes I don't. I just feel like if it's something that needs to be said, then I'll tell you. And if it's something that doesn't need to be said, then I won't tell you. I kind of go like that. But this time, when I was doing it, so many cards came out that I actually felt like it was like super obnoxious. And I remember thinking to myself, I don't really have the time or the patience to be like trying to figure this out right now. So we're just going to have to do it together. It was a lot though. So we're going to do it together. While I make myself some nightly tea. I think for what's really interesting is because I'm curious if anyone would care to share what kind of train you saw. Because I didn't tell you what kind of train it was. Did you see a long train? Like how many cars were attached to it? Did you see any freight at the back of it? Did you originally picture a freight train, but then I brought you back to center by telling you there were people on it? Like, what did you originally see at first? Because I do think that whatever kind of train that you originally saw at first would give you insight into the amount of sort of energetic baggage you're probably taking with you. And you probably had no idea. And that energetic baggage is a good indicator on like a personal level about maybe how much work would need to go into your gray space, right? And so What do you do when you're in the gray space? What do you do when you're in the reverb? Nothing. It's just about understanding that that's where you are. And then having a sense of humor about it, and then laughing about it, and then acknowledging it, and then seeing it for what it is, and recognizing that it's really just another opportunity to shed an old pattern that you no longer want to hold. Hi, Skylo. Not just pets. You're afraid of trains? Why? Really? Like looking at them or like riding them? Why? Like a New York train? Because they got crazies on them. And if it's that kind of then I like totally get that. Or is it just like a train in general? Like what about a shuttle? Like at like a airport or something like that? It's the same thing? Interesting. Hmm. So, in the spirit of stopping runaway trains, we're going to look at all of your trains because I suspect that that's what's coming out in the cards. It was a lot of cards. It was almost obnoxious. I didn't even know what to do with all of them when they started coming out. Some of them fell out. It was a whole thick stack, and then I was like, you know what? We'll just do it together, right? But I have a feeling that what's going to come out is the different kind of trains, and I do think that different trains apply to different people because what I was initially picking up on was that there was like insecurity, but the insecurity for every person is just in a different area. And but regardless of what the insecurity is, it's just a feeling of a lot of people having these runaway trains and like not being able to stop it, hence the insecurity, right? So we're gonna go through that. Hey Ruby. Carlisha said, I seen one of those long fast trains, kind of like what you see when they show trains in China. Like a bullet train. Oh, you saw a bullet train. Oh, those are fast too. That's really interesting. That's really interesting. I wonder how you like what you feel that means for you, like on an intuitive level. Faith says my train was long with a few carts, but the people were jam packed into small seats. But it was pretty organized. So you're saying you got chaos, but it's an organized chaos. Gotta love it. Not just pet says shuttles are okay. For me, I picture a train, I picture death. Wow. That's really interesting. That's really I mean, that's actually pretty that's like a big thing. Like, have you worked on that? I'm sitting here trying to think about like what would that mean? Right? Like on a metaphysical level, but I don't know. That's actually the first time I've heard that. I'm curious about like what you feel it means for you. I thought of the trains from Chichu Soul or the Polar Express. Goes what you said earlier. Mm-hmm. Oh man. Yeah, it's a really interesting thing to see what your psyche comes up with. You see a whole lot of things that you didn't think that you would actually see. All right, so let's go over these. There's a lot. And we'll see what we got. Yeah, so interesting. So it's actually just like what I just thought. So it's literally like this feeling of like, so some of you have got things cooking or things that you want to happen, right? Like, I feel like for this particular thing, that like for this particular message, it's not about the specifics of what is wanted. It's about understanding the process of what's happening to you in the now moment as you're transitioning from the old you to the new you. It's why you're going through what it is that you're going through now. But if you have something that you're waiting on that you really want to come through, one, I would say, all right, slow it down a little bit, okay? I wanted to ask you to be patient, but then I just realized that like when I'm in that space, when I'm feeling like really eager or impatient, the last thing I want to hear from somebody is to be patient about something. Like that's not helpful. So I'm going to try to avoid that word, right? But I think in this particular case, it's also not a divine timing thing. It's more so of if you were to get that thing that you want today, you are not in the energetic space to hold or support it today. And it'll be a situation where you end up sabotaging what it is that you actually want because you're just not ready. The sort of emotional and mental baggage that needs to be cleared out first, regardless of whatever it is that you want, right? Like you want a new relationship, that's great, but if you're sitting here not working on the blocks that you have with love, when it shows itself to you, you're just going to self-sabotage and push that person away, right? Same thing with money. If you want a lot of money but you feel like you always got to lose money, then what do you think is going to happen if you get a lot of money? You don't think you're going to lose it? So it's things like that. So it's about sorting out the blocks, but then also understanding because there is you've got like ships coming in. It's a 3 of Wands card. And so for me that always shows that ships coming in, new things coming in, but it's the very beginning. It's the very beginning materializations of new things, right? They're on their way to you. And so, but you kind of just have to let it flow at the pace that it's supposed to get to you. Last week, the card that came out was flow, right? You just have to allow it to come because it's going to get to you at a time when you are ready to hold it, right? Not ready to receive it because you're going to be like, oh, of course I'm ready to receive it. No, when you actually have the capability of like holding the thing, of supporting the thing, you want to be able to support it. You guys are in the chat. Yes, not just pets. Yep. Linda says only the windows of the train. So in this period, right, there is this feeling of that came through. That's kind of funny. Spirit said something funny. Spirit said it's not so for those of you that already have something on your mind, for those of you that are like, okay, I already kind of know what I want to happen. For those of you that are like in that place, but you're still digging for details, you're still like, what, how? Like, how is it going to get there? How is it going to happen? Spirit is saying, well, we're not telling you. And we're not telling you because you're going to mess it up. If we told you the details, you're going to find every which way possible in order to flub the details because you're not going to actually believe the details if we told you. We can tell it to you, but then you're going to use that old belief system because remember, you're in the reverb period, you're in the period of stopping the runaway train. And so you have the new belief system, but the old belief system is still kind of competing with it. You're going to use the insecurities of that old belief system to stop you. So as opposed to using all of your energy to stop that moving train, to stop that runaway train, you're going to end up stopping yourself, which is not what you're actually supposed to be. That's not what you're supposed to be doing right now. Right now, you are supposed to be allowing yourself to finish out the evolutionary process, to finish out this phase, this series of steps that you're currently working on. There's this feeling of like trying to push through or rush it through because some of you are like, but I've been doing this for a while. It feels like some of you are like, it's been a year or it's been 2 years, right? I just feel like I'm at it for a while. But I feel like I keep hearing the same thing about just hold out, and I'm getting sick of holding out. Well, the problem is, if you were truly holding out, you wouldn't be in a space of feeling either aggravated with the process or impatient with the process. If you were doing it truthfully, right? Like if you were in a genuine space of flow, of allowing it to come to you, allowing things to be released without feeling like you had to be in control of everything that was actually going, then you wouldn't feel like it was taking such a long time. If you feel like it's taking a long time, then it is a sign of resistance that you're currently in. You're supposed to actually be finding ways to enjoy the time that you're in now because that's part of the lesson that you're in. So you're in the space of like dreaming for more, dreaming for like new things or better things, or just maybe you're a little bit bored, right? For some of you, it's not going to be so profound. It's just going to be like, I'm bored with this and I would like something else, right? But the idea is that with that, you're focusing on this other thing, then this new thing, this thing that you don't yet have. You're focusing on that. And because of that, you're not falling into that flow space where you're then appreciating what you currently have. Because if you were in the flow space, you would understand that that new is yours regardless, that's guaranteed, that there's no reality where you do not get that thing. And the reason why is because you have to remember you are the creator. You are an aspect of all that is. If you command, it shall be given. If you ask, it shall be given. Because what is the universe going to do? Say no to God? You understand what I'm saying? So that thing, that new thing is yours regardless, but you're not going to appreciate it when it shows up because you haven't yet learned to appreciate what's currently in front of you. It's that kind of situation. Understanding and appreciating what's currently in front of you is part of like the growth. That's part of like, in a video game where you need to like collect a certain amount of tokens and then you get the tokens and then you like level up. It's one of the tokens that you're not picking up. You need to pick up the token. It's like one of the crucial pieces of going into the next video game level. You need the token of being able to appreciate what is today. And for those of you that are like, my life sucks, like I don't actually want to appreciate any of this that's actually today, then what it's about is understanding the lessons and the opportunity of growth that's in those particular scenarios. It's not about loving it. Right? It's not about being like, oh, I'm such gratitude. People love to say that. Like, oh my, thank you so much. It's not really about that. It's about recognizing it for what it is. It's about being able to identify the opportunities that have come in the adversity. It's about being able to highlight where you have learned, where you have grown, and where you have evolved in spite of said circumstances. It's about recognizing how those circumstances actually served you, because everything in life is meant to serve you. Everything in life is meant to benefit you. But people will say, well, how would something like that benefit me? Well, if you can't see it, if you don't have an ability to see how it all serves you, then when that new thing comes in, you won't have the ability to see it then either. And so at that point, it almost just becomes wasteful. And so part of what is happening is that there's like this window of opportunity for you. It's not always about divine timing and waiting for the thing to come to us. Sometimes it's about being able to hold the thing. Because one thing about anything that you want is that you will always get it. And the reason for that is because we have this idea that it's our job to accomplish things, and we don't realize that it's actually that thing's job to accomplish us. Because again, why would you ignore the command of God, right? You're the creator. You're an aspect of all that is. So if you ask, why shouldn't it be given? You understand what I'm saying? So it's not about whether or not you're going to get the thing. You are due the thing. If it's sitting in your heart, it's in your plan. The issue is if you got the thing now, one, you wouldn't be able to recognize it for the beauty and all that it's worth. But two, you wouldn't have the capacity to hold it because you're still in that reverb gray space where you are trying to finish out your old belief system. And while you're in the process of finishing out your old belief system, it's almost like it's going to wait for you to do that in order to come in for your new belief system. Because at that place, you can hold it. At that place, you can see and you can recognize it for what it is versus now where that's something that you don't do as well, to be quite honest. Okay. So we got purification. Which is what's happening now. So that is your gray space. That's your reverb period, right? That is everything that's happening now where you are clearing out things. You are letting the train come to a stop. You have already pulled the lever, right? And you're waiting for passengers, the old ones, to get off. You're waiting for them to disembark. This is the purification process that's actually going on. And then during this period, be flexible, right? Allow it to happen. Just have humor at the process of what's actually going on. It doesn't require that you do anything. It's not an indication that anything has gone wrong. It's actually an indication that you are doing the right thing and that you are on the right path, because it's reverbing, it's bouncing back. It means that it's trying to operate, it's trying to manifest, and it's hitting a wall. And it's hitting a wall because that old belief system isn't there anymore. It doesn't have any structure to hold it together, right? And so while this is happening, just be flexible. Just find humor in it. And the reason why, because you're in your expansion. It's part of expanding. all of those old things, they have to go somewhere. You cannot stop the movement of energy. All energy has momentum, right? It can't be created or destroyed, just transformed, right? So when you are operating from a belief system that you've had for the entire your lifetime, this lifetime, and for some of you, you have belief systems that have been operating for previous lifetimes as well. If you're in that space, it may take a minute. So you just got to have a little bit of flexibility during your expansion period, and then know that you're protected during the entire time, right? And so if you feel a little unstable, right? Understand that it's because people are getting off the train. Understand that, yeah, it's because things are being cleared out. And a lot of those things are things that you're used to. And so, in a way, there is a safety that's in that. Not that it is physically safe, mentally safe, or emotionally safe, but it's predictable. And when things are predictable, it feels safe. But then suddenly, when you move into an era of life where you are evolving and expanding, things stop being predictable because you're learning new things and you're learning a new way of being. And then suddenly you start to feel like there's a rug that's being pulled out from underneath you. Understand that you are protected while this is actually happening. Understand that while you are on that runaway train of all of those old belief systems, that you are still the conductor. That even though it feels like it's running away from you, that you are still actually in control of what's going on. So this is the one I found the most interesting. All of these babies that came out. And so there's a lot of insecurities over here. So just, you're not sitting. You probably should. All right. Are you ready? If I had a magic wand and could have anything I desired in life, what would I choose? There's a power in your desires. Let them be fueled today. Your desires are your soul's wings, and it's time to take flight. Today, go inward. Your answers lie within. What do you desire? Choose what makes you happy and do that. And in this period of the reverb, don't put it down. Don't take that as an indication that you're failing, because it's really an indication that what you're doing is working. Because what's happening is that now the old paradigm is now is struggling. Where does it go? Where does it live? Because it lived in the old belief system, and now that belief system is gone. And so now it's in resistance, not you, it's in resistance, because energy can't be stopped. It has all this momentum, and now it doesn't have a home. Like, where does it pass through? Where's the station? Right? So hold on to what you want. Hold on to those desires. No, it's not too big, right? I felt like I heard someone say, but is it too much? Am I asking for too much? No, you're not asking for too much. No, it's not too big, right? If it's on your heart, it's there for a reason. And I would bet some money that whatever you got sitting on your heart is actually a little bit too small. I feel like it's small potatoes. You probably need to go bigger. You need to go big enough to where it gives you anxiety. I need you to take that desire that you have and blow it up so big that you want to start dry heaving. And then, only then, are you at the point where that desire is mediocre. It's not big enough. You can go bigger. No, you're not asking for too much. No, you're not doing too much. No, you don't want too much. What you're asking for is actually small, because what you've done is taken your desire and you've packaged it, you've put it in this cute little package because you don't want to be annoying or greedy or incorrect for some of you. You don't want people to laugh at you or to tell you that you're crazy or out of your mind. So you've taken your original desire and you have found a way to squeeze it into the tiniest box that you can actually put it into, right? And then you went, okay, that's enough. That'll do. No, it's not enough. And yes, it's too small. Okay. Next card. Am I letting fear stop me? Are you experiencing a mountain of fear? Are you stalling, freezing, or giving up? The juicy secret is that you are the boss of fear. You are unstoppable, but it's up to you to see that by taking action. Today, be brave and do it scared. Choose one fear and move through it. You are in need of a hero, so that is who you will become. Do it scared. Because the reality is that the amount of money and time and therapy that's required for you to sort through your fear and then go do that thing is so high that you may die of old age before you ever got there. So you might as well just do it now and just do it scared. Because once you do it once, then at least you did it. And the problem with the people that are around you, for a lot of you, is that all of them are scared of everything. And they take it and they camouflage it and then they make it look like realism. I'm just being realistic. Like that couldn't happen. I'm just being realistic. Life doesn't work that way. Like that's not life. That could be a thing. Like, come on now. And then those are the people that you're using as advice. Like those are the people that you're like, okay, yeah, you're right. No, they're not right. They're just scared. They're punks. And you're letting a punk you. Next card. Where am I called to use my voice right now? You have a soul script that was written to be spoken. Your story matters and it's time for you to share it with the world. Share your story with at least one person a day. Be brave and speak your truth. Your voice will be a catalyst for healing other people. And then right behind that was, what can I do to make a difference? For a lot of people know where they can contribute. The issue is that there's this thing in society where people go, but is that the right way? Right? Like sometimes people will say, well, I'm not like a good writer, but I can draw or something. But where does that fit into society? I'm not changing lives by doing that. I'm not changing lives by like drawing or whatever. I'm not inspiring anybody. But even when it comes to that, like that's wrong and that's false. Because art in that way, art expressed in that way, there are so many people who that speaks to. And there's so many people who can look at a drawing and feel super inspired to then pursue their dream. And when you sit on what you have, then that person that was waiting to come across you, that person that was waiting to find you, that person that was waiting to be inspired by that piece of art doesn't have the opportunity to do that. And so instead of showing up for everyone around you that's scared of their life, that are punking out for their life and then trying to convince you to punk out of yours, right? Instead of showing up for those people, make a decision to show up for people that are actually waiting for you, that are actually waiting to hear what you have to say, that are actually waiting to be inspired by you, that are actually waiting to be seen by you, right? That are actually waiting to learn from you, to be led by you. How about you show up for those people, right? How about you allow yourself to live in your gift and show up for them, as opposed to worrying about people who don't even know how to show up for themselves? Next card. Am I afraid to be seen? And then the one after that. Am I communicating my needs? The world doesn't want you to hold back any longer. Time to shine your unique light on the world. You were made from love, and from love you are whole. There is no more hiding. There is no more shame. There is only truth. Live naked and free. What parts of me do I hide so I can be socially accepted and fit in? Am I being authentic? Do I allow myself to be all of me? What do I need to feel so I can be safe to be seen? And then like write that down. That's real. What do I need to feel in order to be safe to be seen? And is that what is feeding into the fear of being heard, or the blocks around actually using your voice and communicating what needs to be communicated? What is it that you feel that you need to feel in order to feel safe in that space? I feel like that's a really big one, being seen and being heard. Um, because what you need to feel for both of those things in order to overcome both of those things can only be found within yourself. There isn't an audience on the planet that would have an ability or the capacity to help you work your way through that. When it comes to being seen, you just have to be authentically yourself. Because the problem is, if you are in the world projecting as a character or projecting as a persona, of course you're afraid to be seen, because what if they see the real you? Are they going to call it out? Are they going to like it? Are they going to call you out for not being who you said you are? Are they going to call you out for not being authentically you? If you allow yourself to be seen with just being you, right? You say flaws, other people think that they're cute quirks, right? But at that point, nobody has anything to say about it, because what can they say? You've already said it. What feedback can they give about who you are as a person when you've already shown it? There is no gotcha moment. There is no like, aha, because okay, like I've been shown up. I've been showing up as who I am. So nothing is new, nothing is surprising, right? The people that are watching you show up in whatever capacity that is, they're not surprised by what someone has to say, because you've been showing up as yourself the whole time, and it is what it is. And people, the ones that like you, they like who you are, and the ones they who don't like you, okay, at least they got to make an informed decision about who you are. For some people, it's the fear of not being liked. But the majority of people that won't like you are people that don't even like themselves. So I don't really count them as a qualified source personally. And when it comes to like the fear of like using your voice or speaking up when it's time to be speaking up, walking yourself through that, because the only person that is capable of making you feel safe to speak is you. You have to know and understand that anything that you have to contribute is of value, and then be willing to die on that hill. I mean, there's a lot of politicians that don't say anything of value, and they'd be dying on that hill every day. The next one says, what can I burn? Burn it. Burn it all. The ugly lies, the pain, the shame, the criticism, the images that run through your head, the reminders of what you did wrong, and the proof that you are not enough. Burn, baby, burn. Your soul is calling. It's time for a rebirth. You are like the phoenix rising from the ashes, no longer attached to the past. You are free. Your wings are ready. So it's time to use them. I think a lot of you sit in nests that you've built, but then you don't ever leave the nest. I just saw like a bird in a tree, but it's a big ass bird. It's not even like a chick. It's like a bird sitting in like this like tiniest nest, and it doesn't really fit, and it's kind of spilling out of it, but it's too afraid of the height. It's almost like it's afraid that it's going to fall to the ground, and it hasn't realized that it has the ability to fly. It hasn't even seen or recognized that it has wings, and like there's this feeling of waiting to emerge. There's this feeling of a caterpillar thinking it's a caterpillar, not realizing that it already turned into a butterfly. It's a feeling of being a butterfly, but not recognizing that you're a butterfly. So like you're waiting for like this moment when you're ready, when it's time to like step out, not understanding that like you've had wings, and the wings are just really dusty. Like that's how long you've had them. You've had them so long that they're dusty. And you didn't know. You didn't realize it. And then the next ones are, to whom am I comparing myself right now? So what are you able to see in another? It's only visible because it is within you. Because remember, we're all mirrors of each other. So it's within you, ready to be brought out. Shine light on this feeling and not enough to see the truth. Feeling of not enough to see the truth. Not enough. Lord, let me start over. What you are able to see in another is only visible because it is within you, ready to be brought out. Shine light on this feeling of not enough and see the truth. All that you need and want is within you. If you can see it, then it exists. People can't see things that don't exist, right? So sometimes you'll look at someone and you think, oh, I wish I had that trait that that person has, but you do. The only thing is that you probably haven't exercised it. You probably haven't used it. You're not in the practice of using it or utilizing it. And so you're under this impression that you don't too have it, right? But you can only see it. And the reason why you desire it as well as see it is because it's something that you already have. But remember, you are a butterfly that forgot it has wings. You're still this big ass bird sitting in a nest thinking that you are a chick, not realizing that you're full grown and that could have left the nest, but you just haven't done it yet. What is the most limiting belief keeping me from what I want right now? Am I apologizing for my truth? How can I surrender even more in this moment? Where can I create more space? More space for self, more space for evolution, right? Understanding that with growth comes lessons. Understanding that those lessons don't necessarily mean that you were making all of these mistakes, that you were doing all these failures, right? And understanding that mistakes are crucial for learning lessons, that's how you learn things. And that just because you may have made mistakes, that mistake is not proof that you can't do something or that you're not worth something. And then what passion am I ready to pursue? Your passions will continually lead you to your purpose. What passions have you put to the side, given up on, or buried? What passions is ready to come alive within you? Particularly anything that has come up in your gray space period, and you're stopping that runaway train reverb period. Any of those passions in particular that you have been feeling currently triggered by, and you're saying to yourself, oh, this will never work. This will never work out. This is not a good thing. I'm never going to be successful at that thing, right? Those. What are the ones that you have literally just put down or were thinking about giving up on? Those are the ones that you need to give life to at the moment, that you need to honor at the moment, that you need to prioritize at the moment, that you need to hold in your new belief system, right? Just hold it there. Even it's okay if you don't know how. It doesn't matter, right? The universe does not say no to God. That's not how it works. It doesn't matter if you know how to do it yet. That's okay if you don't know how to do it, but hold it in your belief system. In your belief system, you're holding that thing will happen. And that's it. So there's also too, there's a memory card that's coming out because a lot of you are in the reverb right now in that space. There's just going to be old things that are going to be coming back up. And part of these old things is that some of them it's just going to be people, right? And so some of them it's going to be triggering. And then the other ones of them are I feel like I want to speak on exes and relationships and stuff, right? There's this feeling of nostalgia of damn, why didn't that work out? Or could it work out? Or now that I'm changing, could we be better? Or I know that they're changing and I'm changing. We can come together as two evolved individuals and know that oh my God, hold on. That person is not your twin flame. This is not what this is, right? I feel no. So hold on. Whoever that's for, that person is not your twin flame. This moment for you is not the test. It's not the test and trial or tribulation. This is not the moment where you evolve and then you guys go back together, new evolved individuals. Okay. That was a toxic relationship. That was a toxic connection that you were in, and there's someone else that's better for you. And I recognize that it hurts because you love them or whatever, but that's not what this is. So there's a seek card that's coming out, seek, S-E-E-K. And I always say seek to see. You can see things, right? Like all of you, I don't even care if you consider yourself to be like a baby psychic. All of you are highly intuitive and you can see things. And if you are in a position where you feel like, I just don't understand like what's next for me, seek to see. Look, right? So next time you were in like a meditative state, see the future. Like look to see the future. Like that's what psychics do. I mean, yeah, some of it comes to us on accident, but like for the most part, we're like peeping toms, you know? Like look to see something, look to see something new. There's also stand your ground that's coming through, and then forgiveness. So there is something that you haven't been communicating, like work on that. And so it may not be something that you feel the strength enough to resolve today or tomorrow. But you can put things like that in your new belief system. You can program a belief system to like you having like courage, right? But can also have it be grace in class where you can speak and say something that's not necessarily received as being offensive, but it's your truth, right? So you can program your new belief system in that kind of way if doing it right now is something that you don't necessarily feel comfortable to do. For others, you'll know that it's something that you need to talk on and you need to talk on immediately. There's also the forgiveness card that is coming out. But I see that when it comes to this situation, this is really talking about forgiving yourself. What I'm picturing is like you and your inner child, like you and your baby self, like you going back and then holding your baby self and being like, I'm sorry. And you're apologizing for just not knowing better. You're apologizing for the situations that you got yourself into in the past that maybe caused harm to your baby self, or just like not having the wisdom that you needed to like not make a decision or something like that. It's more so about forgiving the baby self, about forgiving yourself, about going back as who you are today, the evolved person as you are today, and then turning around and looking at that aspect of yourself that you left behind a little while ago because of shame or guilt, and then going back to give that piece of yourself a hug. Because part of like living through and understanding and like nurturing this new belief system is being fully integrated, because it's the old belief system that you are divided into pieces where you have a hard time knowing and remembering who you are, because there's a piece of you over there and a piece of you over there and a piece of you over there, because you have forgotten to put them all together. Right. And so as you are solidifying this new belief system that you have, you want to do that in a way that's fully integrated. And so you want to work on forgiving yourself. Okay. Because that is going to help you like on this journey of peace, of feeling peace, of experiencing peace, of understanding that, yo, it's okay, right? That this life that we're doing, everyone likes to call it a battle, right? This battle of life isn't really necessarily out to get any of us. How can it be out to get us? If we are the creator, if we are an aspect of all that is, then that just means we're out to get ourselves. Life is not the enemy. You are not your own worst enemy, because why would you make yourself the enemy? You are your best ally and your strongest soldier. And so forgive those pieces of yourself that you've left behind in order to find that aspect. And I'm going to throw all these at you, and then we're going to wrap. So I have like these surrender cards, right? And like there was just so many that came out, and it just felt like they all needed to stay there. And I was like, that's never happened, right? So we've got surrender to creativity that came out. So whatever your passions are, allow yourself and your imaginations to run wild. And what I'm getting is like, there's this issue where some of you are like, this sounds ridiculous. like I'm not being like, it's this feeling of like realism. Like I need to be more realistic. That's like not, that can be furthest from the truth, right? Like we're all here bouncing around on this rock and you need to be realistic. Come on now, right? So allow your imagination to run wild. Surrender to sleep. Someone said to me the other day, I'll sleep when I'm dead. And my response to them was, well, if you don't get enough rest, you'll die early. So yeah, Maybe you will sleep when you're dead. But I don't think that that's what you want to do. Rest is so important. We're the only animal that does not rest. Literally every animal rests. It's important. There is nothing on this earth that we actually need to be doing at the rate that we're actually doing it. That's why you're always so damn tired. You wake up, well, I slept 8 hours. Okay, but like dogs sleep 16. Okay? Rest. Surrender to the magic of who you are. We all have magic in us, even in the mundane aspects of life. Remember that you are a magical being with a uniqueness and worth that come from you just being you. Then we've got to surrender to divine timing, surrender your fear of intimacy, so getting close with anyone. This one I don't even sense is just romantic. It's just forming close relationships with people. Like some of you are like, I really want to have like really solid friendships, but then you had a best friend that fucked you over 5 years ago. And so now you're having a hard time getting close to anyone else. Like, no, you have to let shit go. Okay? Surrender low self-esteem. You deserve success, love, and abundance. Set an intention to identify and release any remnants of low self-esteem. And then it was surrender to the beauty of the natural world, which is really just like nature. But there's this thing where spiritual people will go like, "Oh, go out in nature," but like not really explain to you like what that does. Like nature is a place where you ground yourself, and it's a place where you are the most present, right? And so it's a good place to recenter yourself. Like just literally go outside sometimes. Put your feet in the dirt. If you're fortunate enough to be by a beach, put your feet in the sand and like go outside and then rebalance. Literally go ground. Literally go get, what are they, electrons? I think it's electrons. I'm not a scientist, but I think it's an electron thing. Like when you put your feet on the dirt where like it's nothing but electrons down there and then like it balances back out. There's science. There's science. Just trust me on that one. Surrender to trust. Okay. And in this particular circumstance, it's not about trusting others. It's about trusting you. It's about trusting that you, in fact, made the right decision and that what you perceive is the best course of action for yourself is true. And it's about trusting that and leaning in that and going forward in that and not worrying about what naysayers are saying and not worrying about what other people are going to say about what you're doing, right? And then trust that that thing that you feel in your gut is for you, and that thing that you feel in your gut you should do, you should go do. It's about trusting yourself. And then last is about surrender to receiving support and love. And allow the love and support of others in rather than trying to handle everything yourself. This can take the pressure off and simultaneously nurture you. I mean, I know we all think that we got to be the hero. But you don't have to be Superman or Batman or Robin, whatever. You don't have to do all of that, right? You can just do a regular amount of things. And also, you doing a regular amount of things versus you going overboard is not the difference between success and failure. You not doing that extra thing is not going to prevent you from getting that thing that you want because the universe does not say no to the command of God. That's just not how it works. You do not have to work harder than somebody else in order to get something. That is a product of a belief system. And so in that belief system, if you're living through that belief system, that will be what is mirrored back to you. Or you can choose a soft life and take a much easier path because you'll get there too, using your easier path. Why? Because it was already in the plan and it was already supposed to happen. Any questions? Linda says, lots of triggers for me right now. Well, you know, I come to play. I come to play. Why? Because I've noticed that for some reason, because it's the beginning of the week, it's like I have to like recalibrate you guys and remind you something happens in the week where it's like you guys are off your rocker. I don't really understand what happens to you. It's like life gets its hands on you and you're like, and then I have to be like, no, 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 no. Like, come back here. Like, come back. Like, let's like come back here. Like, let's not get too crazy. But yeah, guys, that's it. That is the message. That is the whole message. You're in the process of stopping your runaway train, your train of belief system, that belief system that took off when you came into this world and nobody was driving the damn train. You didn't even know you had an ability to be the conductor of your own train. So now, not only are you the conductor, suddenly you're leading. What? No one told me that was part of the deal. And you're like manning a machine that you don't know how to man. Like, where do you even get a license for this? Right? And it's going super fast and you're scared at the same time. You are in your reverb period, the beautiful period of gray space. And I genuinely think that that's like a really beautiful period to be in, because it's a period where you actually, if you choose to recognize the opportunity in a situation, if you choose to look at it from the perspective of what am I learning here, it's an opportunity before like moving on to recognize what you're actually walking away from. It's an opportunity, the last opportunity to see it physically reflected back to you before you walk away from it. It's almost like getting peace with it or having an opportunity to say bye or like bid it farewell, like thank you. But it's time for something new. That was an experience that I had for whatever reason, that I chose for whatever reason to experience in this life experience of mine. It doesn't have to mean that it was a bad experience. It can just mean that it was just an experience, because that is what we do as humans. We are here to experience. We are here to have the human experience. And so we choose an experience. And then at some point in time, we go, okay, I'm done with that one. I want a different experience. And so now you are choosing a different experience. And as you get to move on to that life that's now created because you're choosing this new experience, you have an opportunity to part ways with the old experience as opposed to cutting it cold turkey, because your old experience will also have people in it, locations in it that are really important to you, maybe even jobs in it that are really important to you. And all of those things are people, are passengers that are about to disembark. And for a lot of you, you have history with those passengers. And even though you recognize that that's not where you need to be now and that's not where you're headed, it doesn't necessarily mean that there wasn't feelings or some sort of form of connection that was established with those things. And this is an opportunity to just say goodbye, to say thank you for the experience. It was rad. Now I'm going to go have a different human experience. You can use this as an opportunity to make peace with the ending, instead of feeling like everything has to be pulled so far or so quickly out from under you. You're just making peace with the ending. And that's okay. Have some humor about it. Laugh about it. You know? I mean, we're all making this shit up as we go anyway. Why take it so seriously? Why is this serious? Carly just says, I struggle with fear. Yeah, I mean, everyone struggles with fear. Like, it's okay. It's okay, but don't let fear be the thing that stops you from doing that thing that you really want to do. Because if you spend so much time going, okay, well, let me sort this out first. A lot of people will say, well, let me sort out this fear. Let me work on this. And then what happens is that it's not that they're not working on it. It's just sometimes so deep rooted that it takes a long time to get through. And then a lot of times the fear is never really properly cleared out anyway. And then so when do you actually give yourself permission to do that thing that you wanted to do or to be that person that you wanted to be? When does that happen? Like, when do you give yourself permission to make those decisions? Because if you're waiting for the other side of your fear, well, shit. What if it doesn't come? What if the other side of your fear doesn't come? Then does that mean that you can't have that thing that you wanted, or that you can't evolve into that thing that you wanted to be? Do it anyway. And then throw up later. And then typically, probably what will happen is that you're probably going to be so gassed from doing it anyway that you probably will forget that you wanted to throw up to begin with, because you've gotten through it. So many things that we're afraid of is just things that we never did before. It's that we just don't know. We don't know how. We don't know why. We don't know. We don't have an answer for it. We can't put it in a nice, neat box in our mind. We can't create a mind map around it. And so it seems too foreign, too intimidating, too scary. Or somebody else was afraid of it, and so they told us to be afraid of it, and so we adopted somebody else's fear, and then we made it our own. And then something that used to be somebody else's belief system suddenly is now our belief system when it wasn't originally. And the thing that I find the most interesting around fear is that fear has a tendency to sit in front of purpose. Like, if you're like, you have this thing in your heart that's just calling to you that you really want to do, or even like, you're supposed to evolve into a certain kind of person, but you're afraid to do so. Like, fear will sit in front of purpose. It'll sit in front of purpose, because that is what makes the purpose. If you weren't afraid of it, there's nothing to accomplish. There's nothing to achieve. You probably wouldn't even have the ability to recognize that it's purpose, that it's something that's so significant and so important for you to be doing in this particular incarnation, because it didn't trigger you. It's the things that are triggering you that are making you afraid that a lot of times is pointing you towards your purpose. Some people will be like, well, what am I supposed to be doing here? I don't know. What's my purpose? Well, what are you afraid of? Go in that direction. Are you afraid to speak up? Your purpose probably has something to do with using your voice in some kind of way. Are you afraid to be seen? Your purpose includes you being at the forefront of something in some kind of way. And then we look at fear as like this boundary, as like an obstacle, as this impasse, as this thing that is preventing us from pursuing the thing that we really want to pursue. And we don't consider the fact that maybe the fear is kind of like a mile marker or like a directional arrow, that maybe it's just pointing us in a certain direction, and that maybe us following that direction requires a reaction within us that's so palpable, and the easiest way to do that is to invoke fear. Is it possible that sometimes fear is our friend, and that it's really not this thing that is attempting to hold us back from something, that it's actually trying to push us to pursue something, but we are misunderstanding its purpose? Sometimes it's just giving you a set of directions. Sometimes it's just telling you where you're supposed to be going. So what would happen in life if one day you went, I'm gonna follow that. I'm gonna follow that fear. I'm gonna see where it goes. I'm gonna see where it takes me. And we're gonna see what happens. We're just gonna kind of see what unfolds from here, because that sounds different and that sounds fun. And if you are someone that's like, I just want a different life, well, then do something different. Because you're not going to get a different life by doing the same thing that you're doing every day, by following that same tired out routine that you follow every day. You want something new, you want something fresh, you want something exciting, but you are not allowing yourself to participate in anything. If you want something new, that requires you to do something new. If you want something fresh, that requires you to do something fresh. If you want to feel excited, then that requires you to seek out excitement. And if you are living by a routine, you're not going to get there. So look at it from a different perspective and understand that in the meantime, the only thing that's actually happening to you is that you are in the process of stopping that runaway train of belief systems that just got out of your control as it gets out of the rest of our control, because like that's just what life does. And that's cool. And that's okay. And that doesn't require any kind of judgment at all. It's just an understanding that that's what's happening to you. And as you are now transitioning, just laugh about it. You're just in the reverb. And make sure you hold on to that new belief system and you hold it tight and you make sure that it is precious to you and you don't let it go. Because if you let it go, we got to start all over. Who wants to do that? Anyway, guys, I'm going to wrap there because I feel like I brought it back around and I feel like I made myself clear. And as always, I'm so happy that you guys spent time with me. I love you all. I hope you guys have a wonderful week. And I hope that you guys don't backslide too much. But if you do backslide, I will always be here to push you back to where you need to go. And with that, good night, guys.